Hello and welcome. In this video, we will go further with exploring the project app of Odoo and add the timesheet app. We will have a look at the app we need. We will explore timesheet possibility through tasks. We will also see to manage timesheet periodically, validate timesheets, and then we will have a quick view on the mobile app of Odoo. So which app do we need? In this video, we will mainly talk about the timesheet app. It will allow you to enter and control time spent, manage forecast, and bill time spent. Let's first start with installing the timesheet app. In the setting of the configuration, in time management, I will select timesheets. By saving it, Odoo will install now the timesheet app. Going into the settings of the timesheet, we find here the possibility to sync the time spent with the mobile app, the billing section where you will be able to invoice time spent in different ways, and this will be shown in the upcoming videos, and the timesheet control on two different levels. An employee reminder, sending an email to employees with their missing timesheets according their work time, and a manager reminder for all non-validated timesheet. The reminder can be set with a weekly or monthly frequency and an amount of days. Now let's explore what the timesheet app has added on our jobs. Let's first start with creating a new job. We will call it purchase video. We edit and enter the job. We see that a new tab has been added, the timesheet tab. In here we have the possibility to enter initially planned hours. This in order to control and analyze time spent. Let's enter 10 hours. Now you can see also that the remaining hours has been changed to 10. The hours spent will evolve according to the timesheet for this job. From now on, I can start working on this job. I will just change the stage and put it in progress. Entering timesheet can be done from inside the job. Just click on Edit and add an item. By default, the employee shows the connected user. We can now select a date, enter a description, and enter a duration. Note that the remaining hours have been recalculated according to time spent. The progress bar also indicates you how far you are in your job. Let's save it. From the dashboard, you can easily access the overview of the timesheet for a specific project. In here, you have an overview of all timesheeted work for this specific project. Back in our project overview. Now, the same way of working can be done when using subtasks. Therefore, let's create a new job. Let's call it inventory video. Let's enter the job. We will assume that the old job requires 10 hours. What we are going to do now is to split those hours into different subjobs. Let's create our first subtask, which we will call recording video. And a second one, add subtitles. Now we will first enter the job, and we will assume that we will give 4 hours to record the videos. Let's select the second one, and in here we will allocate the 6 remaining hours. From here, let's go back to the parent job by clicking on the Smart button. Now in the Timesheet tab, we see now here that the 10 hours has been allocated to the subtasks. The progress bar shows 100% because all initially planned hours of this job were allocated to 2 subjobs. This doesn't mean that you can't enter timesheet on this job. The time will be added to the total hours and the remaining will go negative. Let's just enter here an hour. Administration work. And we will enter 1 hour. So as we can see here, we have now 1 negative hours. It is actually telling me that I have spent, in this case, 1 hour more than the initially planned hours. 11 instead of 10 initially planned hours. Let's now move to our subtasks and enter some timesheet. I will enter here first recording session and enter 2 hours. So you can see here that I've spent actually 50% of the allocated hours for this specific job. As you can see, subtask works the same way as a normal task. It just has the same behavior as the parent tasks. So this was the first way to enter timesheet, but of course you can also enter timesheet on a daily or weekly basis, or even monthly, depending on how far you want to detail your daily work. For this, let's go straight to the Timesheet app. Let's open the Timesheet app, and in here you have an overview for all your timesheets. The Today button shows you your daily work. You can also switch from a weekly view to a monthly view just by clicking on the button. If you are familiarized with your jobs, simply click Add Line. In the wizard, choose a project and one of the linked jobs. You can also select the date and just enter a time spent and also describe the activity. Second recording session. Let's save it. Just go back on the weekly base. And I see here now that the recording video I have 2 hours spent. If job description is not really an issue, and you planned actually to enter time spent on a weekly base, you can easily here from the overview, just click the day you worked on that specific job and enter the time spent. The only difference here is that no description is filled when going in the job. Again, it's up to you to decide how far you want to go regarding details. Let's just have a look on the jobs itself. We will take the recording video, and in the timesheet we see here that the second line has been added. So it is all synchronized. Next, let's have a look on the validation of the timesheets. This will become interesting in the next video when we will talk about invoicing timesheet. So just to show you here, in the timesheet app, from the menu, to validate, you can select timesheet period you like to validate. You have the possibility to choose between the week before or last month. Of course, in here I do not have time spent from the week before, and I can move on to the next week as I wish. When clicking on the validate button, I do now have the period I'd like to select until when timesheet needs to be validated, and also the choice of employee if one or more users were working on jobs the period I just selected, and I just need to click validate to validate all hours. You see here that the filter non-validated is now empty. An easy reporting section will also show you 3 different ways to analyze timesheet: by employee, by project, or by tasks. For example, by project, we see here for the project e-learning video how much total time has been spent so far. One last thing about timesheet. Did you know that we have a timesheet app that allows you to enter work time directly from your mobile phone? Well, let's have a quick look at it. Let's enter the timesheet, and from the menu timesheet we have here timesheet app. Here you can have a preview on how easy it is to use it on your mobile phone. It just works the same way. We will just first sign in into the database. So here we choose the database. Of course, we need to log in with the user account. Just clicking on the plus button, you can now easily select the project like you would do in your instance. Select the job you're working on, enter time spent, and a work summary. Let's save it, and it comes now into the overview. Note that it is not yet entered in your database. You need therefore to synchronize it. Clicking on synchronize, sync now, and the lines will be entered in your database. From the menu, you can also select the default project for which you will also enter the timesheet, a minimal duration that needs to be taken into account while starting the timesheet, and a time unit. This is a roundup for all duration. This means that, for example, if you were working 10 minutes, it will actually timesheet 15 minutes. Well, how does that work? Simply here, when you click on the Start button, the timer starts to run. This means that actually you started to work on something. This might be very useful when you are on the way and you are making some intervention. At least, and by default, you always need to actually have a minimum of 1 minute spent to take it into account. Now that my minute is actually over, I will click on stop, and here now you can see that I can choose the project, which task I was working on. I will select the HR video. The time spent is here 1 minute calculated, and I will enter here, for example, work done from a mobile app, and save it. And as I told you before, it will be rounded to 15 minutes. Let's just synchronize. And let's have a look into our database. Going back to the project, for example, in the HR video, in the timesheet tab, you see here that the time has been synchronized into my database. So you can see that it's very easy to use that timesheet app on your mobile phone. This ends the timesheet basics video.